Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about unlocking the most realistic cockpit camera settings in F1 25, and trust me, this will completely transform your racing experience. I've put in the laps, tested every car and dialed in the camera settings to give you the perfect mix of immersion, visibility and performance. For each team I'll be showing a full lap with the cockpit cam, and then right after the lap I'll bring up the in-game camera settings menu so you can copy everything exactly. For the first time in this year's game, I've started racing with the halo visible for the ultimate immersive experience. I'll also show you a quick preview of how each camera looks with and without the halo so you can pick what feels right for you. Now, before we go team by team, here are the key settings I've adjusted to get that realistic feel. Field of view is set to 0. This offers a realistic balance of forward vision and peripheral awareness, whilst also minimising the intrusive size of the halo column. It improves braking zone accuracy, which is critical for lap time. Offset horizontal moves the camera forward and back. I've gone with a view that cuts off just the bottom of the steering wheel. It's very similar to how a real-life helmet cam footage looks. Offset vertical is raised just enough so it hides the opening of the halo. It gives for a great immersive experience without sacrificing vision. I've set the look to apex to maximum. This really helps counter the limited field of view and increases the immersion once you get used to it. Let's dive into the settings car by car. Let's kick things off with the McLaren. It has one of the best halos in game. Super narrow and clean, which gives you a really nice wide field of view. Honestly, it's one of the easiest cars to dial in and feels amazing from the cockpit. Next up, the Ferrari. The halo has a small centre column which doesn't restrict your vision too much. I found the standard angle worked really well, clean, sharp and very immersive. Now onto the Red Bull. It's one of the better halos overall. The central column stays out of your field of view, making it one of the most comfortable setups for cockpit cam. Just a little tweak and it's race ready. Mercedes needed a bit more work. It has a wider halo column, so I adjusted the camera slightly to maintain good visibility. It took a bit of a trial and error, but once I locked it in, it felt pretty good on track. Aston Martin's halo is narrower than the Mercedes, so I could optimise the forward view a bit more. It's not quite as open as the McLaren, but it still feels really solid after some minor tweaks. Now for the Alpine. This one took a little more adjusting. I had to lower the camera angle slightly to get the sweet spot where I felt comfortable. But once it was set, the cockpit cam felt much more natural. The Racing Bulls is very similar to the Red Bull, no surprise there. The only thing I really needed was a slight angle adjustment, and then it was spot on, smooth and very immersive. The Haas really surprised me. I managed to get a great balance between visibility and immersion almost straight away. The cockpit cam felt dialed in with only one minor tweak needed. The Williams, like Mercedes, has a wider halo collar. This meant I had to play around with the settings a bit more to find the best visibility, but the final setup works really well, especially for online races where quick vision is key. Last but not least, the Sauber. This one was the trickiest of the lot. I had to drop the camera angle more than usual to get a clear view of the track. But after a few laps of experimenting, I found a position that I finally felt comfortable with. So there you have it, every car in F1 25 with cockpit camera settings tuned for maximum realism and performance. Let me know in the comments which car you're driving with this season, and if these settings helped. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on what's coming next. Speaking of next, I've been working on a realistic force feedback and wheelbase settings guide for F1 25. And if you thought the camera settings made a difference, wait until you feel how this dials in your car handling. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.